and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got a little tag video to share with you guys. You see, the other night I was sitting around and I was kind of thinking, you know, I wouldn't mind answering some tag questions. And as I looked around, I kind of noticed that all the tags that I was drawn to I'd already filmed in the past. So I thought, well, why not come up with your own tag questions? And that's just what I've done. So basically, I just wanted to think of things that I'd love to know about my YouTube friends, or things maybe they'd like to know about me. Things that go a little deeper than our favorite lipstick shades or skincare routines. Although, don't get me wrong, I love knowing those things too. But I also just really love getting to know you more. So I'm calling this tag More Than Makeup. Let's get personal. Though don't worry, it's not too personal. So I've got my little notebook here where I've jotted down some questions. So the first question is, what's the best thing about where you live? And I thought this one would be interesting because I've met so many amazing people from all over the world. So for me, the best thing about where we live is we moved to this town where we live in now about 5 years ago. It's a really small town, and we moved here from a fairly large city in Ontario, where we had lived for about 8 years. When we moved here, our daughter was very young. She was only about 7. And in moving here, we opened up a whole new world of freedom for her. I grew up in a really small town back in Newfoundland, and so the thought of moving to such a tiny town, I was so excited about, because I knew I would miss the conveniences of living in a bigger city. But knowing that she'd be able to run around, play with her friends outside, go to the park by herself, know that she had to be home, you know, before the streetlights came on. I loved that she was able to have sort of a small town childhood. And she's still having that now. She has so much independence. She just loves it, and we love it, and it's so fun. Whereas I feel like if she had stayed in the city, she would have been a little more cooped up and not been able to have as much freedom. Question number 2 is, who in your life inspires you the most? For me, that would definitely have to be my mom. When my mom was 33 years old, I was 13 at the time. When she was 33, she almost overnight came down with a severe case of rheumatoid arthritis. She had her whole life been very active and fit, and then almost literally overnight it was taken away from her. And watching her deal with that at such a young age, the doctors who would treat her, they were absolutely blown away, saying they had never seen a case of arthritis this severe in anyone like under 80 years old. And times got really rough for a while, but she never, ever gave up. Not for a second. And now she's, you know, she's in her late 50s, and she's bounced back so much. She's gotten so much of herself back. You know, doctors warned her like, oh, you could be in a wheelchair in 5 years. But my mom was like, nope. And she never did. And, you know, she's had multiple surgeries along the way, but she never for 1 second gave up. And now she lives, you know, a fairly active life for someone who had had such a grim diagnosis. And that inspires me every single day. Number 3, what are you afraid of? On a more lighter note, I'm afraid of my basement in the nighttime once everyone else has gone to bed. That's where our laundry, our washer and dryer is. So say if I'm up a little later than everyone else and there's laundry to be fetched in the dryer, it's a bit of a situation. If it's something I need to get and can't wait until morning, I run to the basement, grab it as quickly as I can, and then I sprint up the stairs like some sort of crazy person. So there's that. But my biggest, truest, deepest fear is something happening to my daughter. 100%. Like anyone I love, of course, my husband, my mom, my sister, but my daughter, that's the big one. Number 4, what's one thing you wish you could tell your teenage self? For me, the one thing I wish I could tell myself is that all of this isn't as important as it seems. Because you know when you're a teenager and you're in it and everything seems so big and so dramatic and so intense, and there'd be so much stress and worry and anxiety. And I just wish I could go back in time and tell myself it's not that important. Just relax. Number 5, what's something that people would be surprised to learn about you? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. One thing that always seems to surprise people is when I tell them that I used to smoke for over 10 years. People are always like, really? They can't picture it, I guess, but yeah. Number 6, how do you relax and de-stress? Some of the most important things for me when I'm feeling tense, stressed, any sort of anxiety is just a change of scenery. So often that will do so much for me. Just getting out of the house, going for a walk, going for a drive. If that's not possible, or in addition to, I also love to just take a hot bath, light some candles, put some good smelling stuff in, lock the door, tell everyone, deal with your own problems. I need some time. Just sort of putting up those boundaries and disconnecting enough that you can come back into your own center. That's what always works for me. Number 7, since so many of us here are part of sort of the makeup community of YouTube, I thought I would ask, why do you love makeup? And for me, my answer is I love it because it's another way to be creative. It's fun. It's artistic. It's just fun putting together colors, playing around, trying something new. I love how it makes me feel. You know, I toss on even just some mascara and some lipstick and I just feel better. I feel a little lighter, and I love that feeling. So that's why I love makeup. Number 8, who's the first YouTuber you can remember watching? So I really had to think on this one, like real hard. Because for me, back, you know, when YouTube first started, YouTube was just the place where I'd go to watch music videos. I didn't really know that it was what it was, like that people were creating channels and putting out content. The first YouTuber I guess I can remember seeing is Jenna Marbles, and my sister came over one day and she was like, oh my god, I saw this video, you have to watch it. And it was that Jenna Marbles video where it's how to get people to stop talking to you, and that face, and then my sister was making the face, and we were just roaring laughing. It was so funny. So Jenna Marbles, now looking back, is the first makeup YouTuber I watched was Jessica Braun, and that was just a few years ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago, because I can remember seeing on Facebook someone talking about Ipsy and I had no idea what it was, and I googled it, and one of Jessica Braun's YouTube unbaggings came up. She was Jessica Murphy back then. And yeah, so number 9, tell us one of your favorite childhood memories. This one's tough. But one that really sticks out is, for the first 8 years of my life, it was just me and my mom. And we used to do a ton of things together all the time. And one of the favorite things that we would do is some weekends, we would get dressed up and we would go to this gorgeous, gorgeous restaurant in St. John's, Newfoundland, and it was called Papa's. And they had the most amazing Italian food. And they would, they had the best lasagna. It was just so good. And I remember being a little girl, all dressed up, feeling like I was this princess, just out with my mom, having a beautiful night on the town at this restaurant. And it was so fun, and such fond memories. Other really great memories I have are of being out on my grandparents' boat with them. We would go fishing and whale watching, and every single time I think of being a kid and being back on the island, I think of being out in the middle of the ocean on that boat, and the way your skin gets salty, and if you lick your lips it's salty, and the wind, your hair's a mess, and it's just this beautiful, salty, windy mess. And I absolutely love it. I have so many funny memories of fishing with my grandfather. The kind of fishing you do there is you jig for the fish. So it's like this long fishing line that you wind up and on like a spool kind of. And so one time I was jigging and I was pulling up a fish, and the fish you normally catch there are codfish. And you know, those are fairly harmless looking, you know, they're white-ish, and you pull them up and it's a codfish. But I caught not a codfish this one time. I guess it was a Johnny sculpin, and I'm pulling it up, but I had never seen one before, and it was like black and blue and purple and had like face fins, and it looked so angry, and I threw the whole thing over the jigger, all of it. My grandfather was just staring, looking at the water, looking at me, looking back at the water. He was just like, what is this child doing? And I was trying to just explain to him that it was terrifying what I had seen. So yeah, just those moments. So many amazing, precious memories. The final question, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't get a book question in here somewhere. My question is, if you're a reader, what's your favorite book? Or if you're not, what's your favorite movie? And if you are a reader, I know you're thinking to yourself, Shannon, what kind of question is that? It's so hard to pick, I know. I'm going to give two answers. I'm going to give one answer that's a fiction book and one answer that's a nonfiction book. Just because they're both my faves and I can't leave one out. So for nonfiction, no, we'll do fiction first. For fiction, it's a book I've talked about many, many times on this channel, and it is the book All My Puny Sorrows by Miriam Taves. It is so good. If you have not read it, you must. And the other book is by Stephen King, and this is the nonfiction one, and it's just called On Writing. And if you are a writer, it's necessary reading. It's so helpful. The first half of the book is kind of like his story on how he became a writer, and then the second half of the book is like actual technical tips on how to make your writing better, and it's so good. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tag video. I of course encourage everyone and anyone to do it if you want to. I would love that. And just let me know that you did so I can come and watch it. But I am going to tag a few ladies just so that we can get this ball rolling, and I really, really would love to hear your answers. The first one is, I'm going to tag KittyKat Loves Makeup. I'm going to tag KathysBeautyCareChats. I'm going to tag Eclectic Alu. I'm going to tag Dawn's Life Over 40. And I'm going to tag Elena. Hi guys, it's me. I forgot to tag the Retro Antiager. Sarah, I would love to hear your answers for this too. I'll put your names down below. So there you go, you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.